What's up, guys? Long time no see. There's reason for that. Your boys got career changes and needed to make sure this stuff was still okay. And this past week in Boston, I was told it's very okay. Not only is it okay, but they thought it was really cool. So I'm back. Steve's back. Steve, thank you for joining us. I appreciate the flap. Great shout out to Angels in the Outfield. What a treasured sports movie.
I'm here. You're stuck with me, Adam.
We have a lot to catch up on because while I've been doing the very professional day job stuff, there's been a lot happening around the Pelicans. Wow. So we're just going to jump right into it because good Lord, we got a lot to get through. But as always, you see the label below right down here. It's the Crescent 9 gig. We're still here. It's right. It's right there. I like the sour watermelon, a wonderful THC beverage, which in Louisiana is 5 milligrams and below because of the law passed last January. Tons of flavors in your local grocery store. The sour watermelon still my go-to. It hasn't changed. Not gonna change, honestly. It's really good. And 21 or older to imbibe. I think Steve could be, maybe they could highly satisfy Steve. Yeah, he could go for one. Yeah, look, just a little thumbs up. Just a little thumbs up. If you're big on mango, get the tropical. I'm not a big mango guy. I'm a watermelon guy. But it's Crescent Canna's your number one THC beverage provider in the New Orleans area, a New Orleans company trying to highly satisfy you and take a little bit of the pressure off, which the New Orleans Pelicans could use right now. Because, dear God, so many things have happened. The Dumars era is very, very quickly upon us. This team is very different and is going to be doing some different things. So let's go right into the draft. We're going to skip all the chatter and the, hey, Steve, love you. How's it going? High five through the window. We're just jumping right into it. So the Pelicans take Jeremiah Fears right there at 7. This is one of the two guys that I wanted the Pelicans to take that I thought was a possibility to be there. I'm not a Trey Johnson guy, so I was hoping that Con Knipple and I've told you I wanted Ace Bailey gone before our pick 2 because that pick scared me too. So Bailey, Trey Johnson, and Con Knipple are gone. Knipple's the other guy I want. Fears is there. They select him. I am thrilled. Steve, how do you feel?
I like it. Obviously, a lot of high upside, but if you're looking at what he can do, the potential offensively speaks to me. The fearlessness offensively speaks to me. I'm intrigued to see how much the drives translate, but he's a bucket. And for a team that probably needs something like that, I'm not mad at it. I was joking, like if everything you want Jordan Hawkins to try and do offensively, he does already. And if he's able to develop, get a nice little point guard, little combo guard, I'm excited.
I think he's a point guard. I think it's so when you look at the athletic archetypes, when you see 6'3", you want him to be a point guard because you don't want, if he's a shooting guard and he actually has to play the 2 and can't play as much on ball, you get into size mismatches at position. He grades out better if he is a point guard, but just like watch his Oklahoma games. The guy has on ball juice, like true juice.
A lot of it.
And his handle is sophisticated. Now, he's a little predictable in terms of how he beats you left and right, but he beats everybody left and right. I think the thing I was most surprised by with Fears, after reclassifying as a 17-year-old to go to Oklahoma early, which everybody knows this stuff, averaging 17 points a game on some rough shooting numbers, 43%, 28% from 3. But mid-80s free throw line, like the jumper doesn't look terrible. He kind of jumps into his three-pointer in a way that like suggests he needs to get a little stronger and then he won't have to jump into it. Like he shoots a 3 like I'm a teenager. I like had to do it to get it all the way. And so that that's what makes it look funky, but his mechanics at the line are great. the thing that wins me over with him, beyond the fact that we hear his first interview and he talks like he's a 27-year-old, the thing that wins me is watching him drive left, because all the concerns you have is like, this guy's tiny, he's slight. What's going to happen? Our guy's going to bully him off the ball. But he has got a lot of that Ja Morant, it doesn't matter that I'm small because I'm gonna leave you stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think the biggest thing that surprises me going left, like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander-esque, I'm going to go left and I'm going to hold you off the ball. You're not going to push me off. And it doesn't make sense to me because Spears is very, very light and he jumps into you. He gets that elbow tucked in your chest and guys don't get to the ball. So he is like, he's rim pressure waiting to happen. And I think Oklahoma was like a pretty bad team. So I don't know a lot about the passing yet and everything, but he screams true NBA point guard, real juice, real handle. And now my questions are the three-pointer and the development of the body, which feels like a good bet when he just turned 19.
I think to add to your point, the shiftiness stands out to me, and that's something that can grow. The angles he kind of takes on his drive. So you mentioned the left to right. When he just has like a herky jerkiness to him, but he gets right to the next angle very quickly. And one thing I like with a young, willing driver, it's okay. Are you trying to initiate contact on some of these? Or are you just fully out athleting people? And I think there's enough of, okay, I turn the corner. There's a big here. I can go ahead and hit you with my shoulder, at least try to. And I want to see what that looks like, you know, as he kind of faces different defenses, has space. I think the pull-up is there from 2. Yeah. Do you like the pull-up from 3, Adam?
No. But it's mainly... It screams the same concern I have for him just in general. I want to see him get stronger. Okay. The body mechanics of everything are fine. The release point and the jumping motion, like he very much jumps into his shot from 3. That is not a good recipe for somebody to be a pull-up guy. Something I tried to say about Brandon Ingram 100 times. Brandon Ingram doesn't have a pull-up in his bag because of the way he shoots a 3. He likes to step into his three-pointer. He just does. That is the way he takes it. If he steps back, it throws off his whole motion. It's just something he doesn't do. It's why he doesn't sidestep people. It's why he's not comfortable being a 9-3 a game guy. But if he steps into, then his rise is clean, his release is clean, and it looks like the prototypical shot where the arm angle and the release point are exactly the same. And that's what you love about Brandon Ingram from 15 feet in. Every release looks exactly the same. And that makes a good shooter. But yeah, it just screams like fears if he's stronger, if he's bigger, he's not going to have to jump into it. I have a little concern. Obviously I'm going to have concern with 28%, but I also just look at like, this guy's going to get minutes next to Zion Williamson, Jordan Poole, Trey Murphy. He's not going to have 23-year-old size advantage, like 4 or 5 years older than him, 1A defender who just gets to guard him. He's not playing in that context anymore. So it'll be interesting to see when he's getting kickouts, how does that look different? Because I don't think he's in a position to be asked to do a ton of pull-ups right out the gate. I don't. So I feel all right about it. I think he's the right pick. I do want to pour one out real quick though for my boy Rasheer Fleming, because I can't believe he went in the second. And it bums me out. And I think the entire NBA got it wrong. And it's the one thing the Suns did correctly. I'm just throwing it out there. That's a guy I just believe in. He's going to be a 10-year NBA vet, and you can't convince me otherwise. He plays with incredible downward force with the ball in his hands as a big. And you just don't find that. Dude, super versatile defender, high energy with ball skills that can drive left or right. And he's comfortable shooting too. Like, he's just really versatile. Small school. Okay. Anyway, moving on.
Get the bars off, Adam. Let it fly.
Look, it's been a lot of time. I got pent up takes. I am filled to the brim with takes.
I was gonna say last time we did this, we had the mystical draft board.
It never happened.
Which your guy,
I got a job. I got a new job.
And your boy fell to the Miami Heat.
Oh yeah. So I mean, it's everybody says like they're shocked that he goes to the Heat. Jonas, I'm like the ceiling bet for him is Goran Dragic, who the Heat love. So to me, that makes all the sense in the world. They might have picked a Dragic clone. So that feels right. It is wild that he dropped that far though. There are some bets in the middle there that but this is the thing. After the top three, it's a choose your own adventure because you're all betting on different things. You start to get more and more. What is my need is what starts to bleed into the pick. And so you're looking at like Common Malawak and you're like, do I need a center? Do I want a center of this profile in my team? And that changes like where he could potentially go. It also changes where somebody by the name of Derik Queen might.
Yeah.
And
yeah, big dog, Roo. Yeah.
And now we got to talk. We're gonna get some things out here. So obviously everybody around the NBA knows there are articles being written left and right, and you can have those. Derik Queen is essentially acquired by the New Orleans Pelicans, who move from pick 23 to pick 13 to select the Maryland Terrapin center, the jolly but intense Maryland center, Derik Queen. And immediately we hear from Joe Dumars, like right after the rookies are introduced, we get a little blip, and he makes it clear that he called everybody from 10 to 13. Like he basically says we started calling people at 10 because we want this guy. And if you do this move, I better hear that you believe in this kid. Like I want to hear resounding belief. My fear is, had we done a draft board episode, I would have told you that I did not want Derik Queen.
Really? Why?
But entirely athletic profile. Entirely athletic profile. I am very, very afraid. I was very afraid coming into this that much like one Luka Garza, now a Boston Celtic, that the athletic profile was going to make his college production feel mythological because it's not something that's going to happen in the NBA. However, slight difference with Queen, and this is where I get into like, how do I talk myself into it? Luka Garza and Derik Queen are very different. Luka Garza dominated people physically at Iowa. He bodied guys because he had a physical advantage, similar to Tyler Hansbrough back in the day at UNC. There was a power advantage over bigs at the college level, and there was a skill set that was already there because he stayed in school and he refined his skills and all that stuff. So he beat up on lower level athletes, and then the lower level athletes go away, and now he's making $5 million in Boston, and he hasn't played in the NBA all but anything yet. The thing that's different with Queen is that this is a very specific bet. And this is, Steve, where I want to bring you in and kind of let you talk about ball.
Okay.
Derik Queen clearly has the best ball skills, handle, vision of any big in this class. The athletic profile scares the hell out of me, but the passing and the ability to move with the ball in his hands is special. And that's how he cooked guys in college. It didn't matter what size of guy you put in front of him because he's just got a lot in the bag. And that's very uncommon for 6'10". Your floor. Tell me about Derik Queen playing ball.
Well, I mean, I think the thing for me with Derik Queen, one, he's got a lot of dog in him. That was the first thing that stood out to me when they went and got him. He's got some dog in him. And that you can't underrate that factor as far as the improvement of a player once you get to the NBA. I think you have to like the skill that he has to understand what the pick could be, in my opinion. Because you mentioned the bag as far as the dribble. The drives stand out, obviously. But the different areas that he can operate on the court with today's NBA make a lot of sense. So it's not just like I'm in the post, face up, go to work. He's got great footwork. He's got good attacks. He can attack from the top of the key. He can attack from the elbow. There were times where he spaced in college. He slides from the corner to the wing. You can kind of space him in different areas. He can attack in different ways. But I think the passing is underrated. And I think that's really important, especially with how bigs are kind of used when you're running delay action, you're playing through him at the top, you can get movement off of it, and he can make those passes consistently. Like that's a very valuable skill set. And so he may not be someone who's going to get the post up, get the double team, but if he can make the reads, he can make the right plays, he can roll, he can skip, he can create offense. That's not really how many Pelicans bigs have you seen really consistently be able to do that outside of Zion Williamson and Kelly Olynyk for 6 business weeks.
6 business weeks. Oh, so we talked about this last year, but this is the thing that had them so infatuated with Larry Nance, even when Larry Nance's physical prowess was starting to fall off. Larry had one spot on the floor where he was very comfortable being like the passing hub big. He loved doing it from the elbow. From the elbow, Larry read and fed baseline drives very, very well. And cutters, like he could see from 15 feet in. He could make a pass, a lot of angles around bodies. Like that was something he was comfortable doing. And it's why they played him more than people wanted them to. What you're talking about with Queen doesn't just do it from the elbow. He can make those passes from everywhere with both hands at a multitude of arm angles, and they are accurate and on time. That is like, we're talking like the thing that everybody will be tempted to do when you talk about a big man passing is to get really carried away with yourself and talk about things that Jokic does. It's in no stratosphere, and I'm going to refrain from using that name. But I will absolutely talk about Domantas Sabonis. Because
I was gonna go Nurkic.
Yeah, well, Nurkic is like a fire hydrant, though. But yes. So Nurk, Sabonis, these guys that have been staples in big man rotations because they can move a little bit and they can create. I think the creation and the passing is a little higher end than Nurkic, honestly. The thing that scares me, though, is that Nurkic was able to explore that ability because junk in the trunk. And Derrick is smaller. He's doughy. He's like, there's a lot going against him. He probably couldn't jump over a fire hydrant. The arms are not particularly long. So my fear is, will he hold position when bigs come at him and just shove him off the mark? And is that going to ruin the passing? So that's the tough part for me, is like, if he can cook fast enough that a big can't get up under him and just move him off his spot. Mm-hmm. So like the post up distribution, I don't expect much of it at all. Maybe like the face up from the elbow, I'm not so worried. It's where does he get the ball and when does he start attacking is my concern. And was there already somebody on him? Which is why I think it's going to be a lot of outside in, because it's harder to get bigs out on the 3-point line. You're not going to want them out there with him trying to guard him all the way in. There's not a lot of guys with that skill set. So anyway, I worry about the physicality.
I think that's fair. I think in my mind, if you think of him, you can play him with a lot of different guys. You can play him with Zion. You could technically play him with the 5. If he's at the 5, you could go inverted actions. They're like using Herb as a screener. You can use different guys in different places. So he could be spaced, have a big on him, kind of attack closeouts that way. Now it'll be determined will he get bumped on his drives. That part is intriguing to me, but I think him being able to kind of being able to attack bigs in that way can open some of those lanes up. And so I think the feel and the skill set is key for me on that area. So I'm confident there. What I'm trying to figure out is, what is his growth going to be defensively? Because it's not necessarily him in action. It's when he's on the weak side where I'm a little like, hey, if you're going to lack the athleticism part, you kind of got to nail the I'm in early portion and know what your job is going to be on the weak side. So it's not like, okay, I'm at the block. Oh, that's a roll. Oh, I should probably go. You got to have a better feel. You got to be in early, or some of the recovery aspects. That's where I worry about the athleticism when he has to close out on the perimeter or make a rotation, because that's today's NBA. If you're out there, you're probably going to have to be a big and be in different spots and know how to help and recover. The mindset should help him there, but that's something I want to see. Okay, what does that look like in the NBA? Is there a higher motivation? Does the scheme help him? Is it simple? Or is it something where he's going to have to work on it, just like Zion had to work on it, where, hey, Zion, buddy, that's your help. Please get in. Okay, you're in. Please get back out.
So I want to I want to touch on what the trade was now and the underpinnings of what that trade does to the selection of Derik Queen, and then I'm going to round back into what you just mentioned.
Okay.
So I have no problem with looking at a bad athletic profile, one that is single-digit percentile in terms of combine rankings for power forward and for center. So when we're saying he's small, his arms are small and he can't jump and he's not fast, we're talking all-time bad athletic profile for a big. Now, we're also saying like his body is not where it should be for a professional basketball player yet. And if he does get it there, it's going to be a different thing. It's going to feel very much like Naz Reid changing his body for the NBA if that happens. It just changes what the player can be, because it didn't happen at Maryland. Some people wear undershirts because they think it looks cool. Some people wear undershirts to cover things. The thing that I have no problem with the trade. So like, there's a lot of people that are pissed about this for a variety of reasons. A lot of people just like don't want to come out and say, I hate Derik Queen. I didn't want us to take him. And so the fact they moved up to take somebody I didn't want makes me more mad. They Derik Queen more than I do. Cool with that. That's fine. They're looking at the passing. They're clearly saying, we think this is an elite skill. We think this big on ball is special. And we want this dude. We like his character. We want him in this team. And they like it so much that they stared down a few teams and said, we're going to do whatever it takes to come out of this draft. Like just straight out of the awful NFL movie Draft Day. It was Derik Queen no matter what. Once they got to 10 and he was still there, it was Derik Queen no matter what. And clearly a few teams weren't interested in moving their pick. They had guys they wanted to select. Then they get to 13 and there is a taker. It is indefensible that there was not some protection on the pick. Indefensible. It should have been top 3, top 5 protected at a minimum. It just should have. There's not really a great argument against it. But there are people that are mad beyond that just don't think you should trade future to come into now. They're low on the class. Everybody loves looking at a future draft class and future picks and talking to me for 3 years about the Miami Heat picks during the post LeBron era. Those Miami picks in 2025 are going to be crazy. They're never what you think they are. Those future picks, the Phoenix picks, they're going to tear it all down. Everybody wants to have a Phoenix pick. When those come around, it's 3 years from now and you needed to play basketball in the time between. So like, it's cool to just consistently build this like future mythical team that never happens because nothing can ever go wrong. But sometimes you got to play basketball and you got to make picks. And so like, I'm just not as attached to picks that aren't top 3. And I'm not going to lie and be like, oh yeah, the Pelicans are going to be the worst team in the NBA next year. And so like, it could be AJ DeBonsa that they just gave away. Stop it.
No, wait, hold on. Can we pause right there?
Yes, we sure can.
I don't like that people are automatically assuming that it's going to be the world's worst pick. Could it be? Absolutely. Could it be disastrous, top 5, whatever? But why would a team think they're going to be that bad? I just need people to understand that. Like, why would you sit as an employee with a Pelican on your dry fit and be like, you know what? We're going to be shit next year, bud. You can't operate that way. Now, should you protect it? I can't debate that. You're not wrong. But if I'm looking at it like, I really like Derik Queen, he might be more valuable than anyone I want next year. If I want to get back in the draft next year, I probably can. If our pick is that bad, we have bigger fish to fry, and we probably need to tap the buttons that would get us more draft capital. And that's when we would do that. So I'm like, yeah. And also, Milwaukee can't really afford to lose right now. They have to make sure Giannis is good. So you know what? I'm going to roll the dice that this guy is our guy. That we're not going to be that bad, and they're not going to be that bad. And let's go for it. You know, there are so many rolls of the dice on drafts and draft classes. And if you're going to have the conversation, automatically assume, well, they're both going to be bad. So they traded a top 5 pick for Derik Queen. Then yeah, in that context, there's no wiggle room. There's no talk. There's no conversation. There's no way you can appreciate what Derik Queen is as a basketball player. And there's no way you can appreciate what the Pelicans do. The only way they win that trade is if Derik Queen does X, Y, Z, or the Pelicans win a bunch of games. And I just don't like putting everything in a box that way.
And we're just always wrong. Historically, we're always wrong. We came into this season saying, like, we knew, like, there are guys that are no doubters. Cooper Flagg was a no doubter. Victor Wembanyama is a no doubter. In the Cade Cunningham draft, there was no doubters. Yeah, you were taking Cade first, but that draft was messy. We thought Ace Bailey was cemented in the top 3. And I'm telling you, I'm afraid to pick him at 7. You don't know. You do not know what is happening in the future. It is sexy to talk about stuff that hasn't happened yet because you don't have to defend it. You do not have to defend it. And by the time it's time to defend it, no one cares anymore. By the time we get to next year's draft, it won't matter anymore because we'll be so far into all of the other things. It drives me nuts how obsessed we get with these 5 years down the road assets because, like, I like basketball and I like the Pelicans and I want to watch them play this year. And I don't think, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit, if you think Jordan Poole plus Zion Williamson and Trey Murphy is going to be a bottom of the league team, I got news for you, brother. It's not.
No. And I you know what's fun? A fun thing to do. I like when people go and revisit the trade instead of like putting the future pick, what the actual pick was.
Yeah.
I think that's a fun gambit. I think that's a fun bit, right?
Go look at all those selections that OKC made and tell me how many of them were Jalen Williams. 2 of them were. 2 of them were Jalen Williams, but the rest of them were not Jalen Williams.
But no, I'm thinking about someone who's probably like, oh my God, I can't believe Denver gave up that pick for Aaron Gordon. It was just Jace Richardson. That's all it was. Good, solid,
Jace Richardson,
solid,
who's as tall as me.
Oh my.
That's another one. Like, we made the pick and some people were like, oh, there's so many other guys on the board. Like Jace Richardson, like, that man is my height. Stop this. Just stop this. There were no doubter prospects that were a better pick. They had conviction. They put their balls on the table and said that they're literal and metaphorical balls on the table and said, let's do it. They should have protected it and they didn't. But realistically, like, if we're going to attempt in the year of our Lord 2025 to defy social media and provide nuance and context and apply logic, this is probably going to be like the 10th or 11th overall pick in a class we know nothing about. So that's what they had conviction on, is like, yeah, I think Derik Queen is better than the 10th to 15th pick next year. That's the decision they made. And as you mentioned, if it's worse than that, we have a lot more to talk about because people that are here on this team that are worth a lot of assets need to be off the team. We need to do something different. This is a essentially a final evaluation if this doesn't work out for some folks. And so let's round it out. So the other draft selection is Micah Peavey. This is like a dude. This is like a tried and true last 6 or 7 years pick by the Pelicans. This is a hardcore all conference wing defender senior that they just know is going to defend multiple positions. They have no idea if he's going to make a jumper, and they don't care because the dude's going to defend. So Micah Peavey from Georgetown lands with the Pels at pick 40. Any thoughts on Micah Peavey?
You know what? I thought you would have enjoyed the potential 3-and-D potential. I thought that would have been something that you.
Oh, I mean, he might. He might. It may work out, but to me, it doesn't matter. I think the defense is good enough that he's going to play.
Okay.
I think the defense is so good that he's so strong and he's played so much ball that I just think he's going to come in. Whatever he is going to potentially develop on, I'm huge on this. You'll hear this from me, and you have heard this from me about Jordan Hawkins. The ability to defend buys you reps. Micah Peavey will defend people, and it will buy him reps and looks. And so he will be given some space to potentially develop the other things because he's going to earn his way on the floor. So I feel as good about that pick as I can in the second round when my guy Rasheer Fleming's already gone.
Well, I mean, I think to your point, he's one of those guys that you're not going to think about until he plays, and you'd be like, oh, he's got some juice to him. Oh, he can do some things. And I think that's valuable for the Pelicans to have someone like that. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So I'm not offended by it. I'm intrigued by the shot. Like, if he can defend and make three, like, then you found yourself something. That's a prototypical second round pick.
This is how they found. This is exactly how they found Najee Marshall. This is what they were thinking when they selected Herb Jones, granted earlier, but that's what they were thinking about the profile. They were saying this dude can really defend. He has some other skills. The defense will buy us an opportunity to look at other things, and we're going to develop the other stuff. So love that. We don't need to spend a lot more time on that, but Micah Peavey was pick number 40. Pick number 40 came in a trade with the Washington Wizards for Jordan Poole and Saddiq Bey, CJ McCollum, and 6-week employee Kelly Olynyk headed the opposite direction. Thank you, Kelly, for your service. And all of a sudden, we got to talk about this for a second. I'm just going to be very bold, and people are probably going to hate this because there's like a reputational version of Jordan Poole, and then there's actual Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole got punched in the face by Draymond Green, sure. You may think he's a laughingstock because of the first year in Washington, but I promise you didn't watch what he did last year because you didn't care about Washington. Washington was strategically getting rid of good players to get worse intentionally. They were playing double bigs to explore SAR and see what was there. They were not trying to win a game. And so Poole, the tank commander, buddy, go look at his numbers. I love CJ McCollum. I am a CJ McCollum apologist and defender. That contract was viewed negatively in the last 3 windows of this here NBA. And I did not have to pay to make it move. So it moves to Washington. I get a 26-year-old who can do all the things that CJ can do and more because he's more athletic. There's some stuff that while you may hate it when Jordan Poole does it from 38 feet when you don't need to early in the clock, he can give himself 5 feet, create separation, and take that nasty deep 3, and it can go in. So I love swapping them because I think that profile is a great fit for Zion. And as much as people were kind of like up in the air, like, oh, Dumars is coming. Is this still Zion's team? Yes, it's still a Zion context team. And Jordan Poole with Trey Murphy and Zion feels like a pretty good schematic bet.
I mean, one salute to CJ McCollum for what he did for the Pelicans. I will forever remember the run with him, BI, and JV in the Phoenix series, and he did a lot for them. And he should be commended for that because he helped turn things around for New Orleans. Now, Jordan Poole, he's a meme for people, and that's unfortunate. But if you watch some Washington Wizards games, watch the first quarter, second quarters, the man came out hot a lot. He came out and got buckets, and the ways he can get buckets and the ways you can move him or use him are important. So when the trade happened, I was like, I can talk myself into Jordan Poole, Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Zion, but you can use Jordan Poole on and off the ball. I think that's something people forget. They just think it's going to be tween headsy all the time. And yes, that's going to happen. And I bet you the first pull-up 3 from 2 feet behind the 3 is going to have the Smoothie King on fire. I already can see it. But you can use him in handoffs. You can use him in action. You can use him in stat pick and roll. You can do different things with Jordan Poole. And we haven't necessarily seen him in a decent context in how many years? The Washington Wizards Jordan Poole era was him trying to figure a whole lot out. And B, okay, Jordan Poole, go be Jordan Poole, which the Pelicans will ask him to do, but there's no constrictions outside of come sit next to me because it's time for us to maybe not win this game.
Yeah.
But what's he look like with structure? He looks like within what the Pelicans like to do with their movement sets. How does that help him? Can he make quicker decisions? He's playing with someone who's going to have the ball in Zion. He's playing with Trey Murphy, who's going to play with aggression. So can that kind of revive the good parts of Jordan Poole? I sound like what I said when Kyle Kuzma got traded to the Bucks, but I think I mean it.
Oh, don't do that.
Hey, context is important, and I think this Pelicans context is a lot better for Jordan Poole to kind of do the good Jordan Poole stuff.
I'm doubling down. Jordan Poole, when we got hyped about Jordan Poole in Golden State, it was when he was playing with a healthy Steph Curry, because you saw Clay on a downward trend. You're like, where's the 3-point volume going to come from? Like, they need another scorer. Jordan Poole steps into that, and you're like, oh, this dude's making game winners, and he is not afraid to do it. Whoa. Then he plays a season where Steph gets hurt, and he's offensive option 1A, and we go, oh, that's a little funky. Jordan Poole maybe isn't what we thought. Then he lands in Washington, where they're changing players every 5 minutes around him and trying to be terrible. So it's the Jordan Poole show, because they didn't try to make it anything else. They didn't want it to be anything else. They put him on a tank. I can go. This is a perfect time to go Malcolm X. He didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on him. And back we go. I've used that before on this show, and I'm sorry, but it's just right there, and it's always the one that comes to mind. I don't know why. But Washington did that to him. So like you said, context is important. He is not going to catch, like, if you put your number one perimeter defender or wing defender on Jordan Poole, he might cook him anyway, because he may just, like you said, tween hezzy, step out to 33 and launch it, and it might go in. So he could do that to the best in the league sometimes. He might score 26 points in the first half on anybody's best defender. On a team with Zion and Trey, it's hard to think that he's going to have, so many looks where defensive option 1A is the guy he's dealing with. I think he's going to have a lot of the second option on the perimeter. I think he's going to have a lot of opportunities to cook some dudes that he can absolutely cook. And he's going to have a lot of opportunities to shoot some kick out threes. Mm-hmm. And that dude is a top 1% of the league shooter. And you know what else he does? He makes his goddamn free throws, which anybody who watches this team knows that we have done backflips over this team in crunch time in games for not making free throws. So it will just be nice to have a dude that just walks up to the line and is automatic. It's just a lot to add. And again, I might have some consternation if I paid a single thing for him, but even the second round pick that I sent was fake. So you got Kelly Olynyk, which means nothing to me. So Jordan Poole is now like an extension of the Brandon Ingram trade. And you've injected youth and athleticism and a shooting profile that fits what you're trying to do. And it's also just like not a super long-term deal too. So there's flexibility down the road in it. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm excited to see that work out. And I think the people who are just like blindly doing they brought him in to be a tank commander. You guys don't watch basketball. You don't. I've just decided you don't watch basketball.
I also would like to say the Saddiq Bey portion of this is pretty sneaky. And I know people may not remember Saddiq Bey because they haven't seen him in a minute. But hey, man, that man scored 51 points in a game. Like he's got some juice, and he could kind of give you that wing that you've been missing since you guys let the knife out.
Yeah, so quietly, and this is like if Micah Peavey pans out, this trade essentially rebuilt their wing depth that they did give away. So we're down to Herb and Trey, but now we're going to be in a lot of contexts where Herb and Trey are going to be playing together. So yeah, the knife gets unsheathed, and Saddiq Bey sneaks in there, and that's just like it's one of those wings in the rotation. I think pretty much everybody in the NBA would be happy to have.
And honestly, the more I think about it, you mentioned the wings, and I'm like, hey, there's some, if everyone hits, there's some size that you can throw out on the floor that you couldn't necessarily do before. Because it was like, we talked about it last year. All right, let's do 3 guard lineups. Oh, okay. It's Jose Alvarado, Jordan Hawkins, and CJ McCollum at the same time. Glad you're trying it. But now if you want to put Zion at the 5, you can have size around him. You put Jordan Poole at the 1, you can have size throughout. Like there's just versatility you can do. You can put Herb at the 4 offensively more often. Like it's just there's some stuff they can move around the board, I think, in a way that's going to help them roster wise that I think is underrated.
2 through 4 is going to be really interesting. Like watching those positions in rotations in the early part of this year is going to be really, really interesting. Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Zion Williamson, Antonio Reeves quietly last year absolutely did his job, and to me is a rotational NBA player for 10 years. Walked in, completely fearless 3-point shooter, is happy to, dribble, sidestep, or get past his first defender and pull up. Like he's just got a real offensive skill that's going to stick. So like you're that toolsy shooter guy that like doesn't have a much higher ceiling than that, but is reliable to make like 40% plus, just knock down his shots. He's that guy. So you have him mixed in there with Saddiq Bey. Jordan Hawkins is still here. I think the thing, like now when I look at, and we can kind of pivot into like what's left for the Pelicans right now. So right now your starting 5 or your best 5 is probably Jordan Poole, Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Zion Williamson. The Pelicans add Kevon Looney on a very minimal money deal. Kevon Looney, somebody we've talked about adding to this team in prior years, a rebound vacuum big that is very comfortable passing the ball. And just like he's going to win on offensive boards, he's going to win on defensive boards. Again, has been a fatal flaw of the Pelicans for years. And if you just looked at our rotation before him, we just didn't have anybody. Like we needed someone to play center for this team and take pressure off of Misi and Matkovic, who are both still developing players. Kevon Looney was not like picked up to be the every night starter though. So like everybody chill. They paid him adequately at a low number to be part of the reliable rotation of bigs. And like, what are we doing? Like pretending like it's more than that. I think the thing that is glaring to me is that beyond Jordan Poole, so Jeremiah Fears is essentially to me is your backup point guard. What does that do to Jose Alvarado? Jose Alvarado, Jordan Poole, Jeremiah Fears. I don't really want to see 2 of them on the court at the same time. I don't want to see them on the same court with Reeves at the 2. Beyond Trey Murphy and Herb Jones, I think it gets interesting. Like, how do you set up a development profile for Fears? It makes me question whether or not Jose's still going to be here when this is all said and done. I think he could, because just the grit, the tenacity, and like the culture player, I could see him sticking. You know who I can't see sticking though?
Ooh.
I don't think there's room on this team for Jordan Hawkins.
Really?
I think once you add Saddiq Bey, I just don't see where Jordan Hawkins gets on the floor. I don't see what he adds now that you have like Murphy goes into the starting lineup. We know that. I think Reeves outperformed Hawkins personally, like just straight up. And Hawkins hasn't developed any of the things that we said he was going to need to develop. He's not bigger. He's not better defensively. The offense, like he made less shots because just having to make shots running sideways off a pick is difficult. And could he still like get hot and all of a sudden you look up and he's got 23 points? Yes, he can. But he's so slight. The handle's not good. And I just wonder, and I think a lot of my friends are wondering, if another team might have like a bigger role for him. And we're all staring down the same deal. We're kind of hoping the Celtics want like some tax savings and would like to send like a Sam Hauser over here. That's the dream.
I'm afraid I've got some horrific news.
Oh no.
We traded Drew. We traded Kristaps Porzingis. We're good. Those were our moves.
Yeah, but they took back. Don't they still have a salary problem? Don't they still have cap problems?
They're not in the perfect position, but I think they accomplished the goal numero uno.
Yeah, I mean they're not in cap hell, but they're also they're going into a year with no Tatum. They're going to have an entire season of no Tatum. So I don't think we're married to like these are the last of the moves. I think this is more we're going to do what we can to better everything because the things that are pinned down here are Derrick White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and we need the next context for those guys by the time Tatum's healthy. So anyway, well, it might be a pipe dream. It might be a pipe dream.
I think this is it's a put up or shut up year for Jordan Hawkins. He's gonna have to do a lot of work between now and camp to re-earn that spot. And I think if you're the Pelicans, it's a win-win. Someone's gonna take the mantle. Who's it gonna be?
The mantle of third shooting guard.
If you play your way in, you play your way in, baby.
That's just it. Is I just can't even see a world like what he is competing for is a backup shooting guard role. Like that's the role that is potentially available based on what's on our roster right now. And I just cannot see putting a guy like, what are you going to do? Run units of him and Fears in against backups? Him and Jose? No. Like that's terrifying. That's just like, you're just going to get bulldozed. You play that. Do me a favor. Run that against OKC. Run that against any version of OKC's backcourts and see how that feels. Now, granted, OKC is the best roster in the league, but I mean, Christ, it is going to be terrible.
Hey, I'm saying, if he gets stronger, defense. Hey, there's a world.
I'm done with.
I know you're out. I'm
done with if he gets stronger. And shout out to the repose of the soul of DeJounte Murray, who I'm just penciling out for the year, and honestly, maybe for his Pelicans tenure. After what he said on the pivot, it would not surprise me if we get to the deadline and DeJounte Murray is not on this team. So as far as I'm concerned, that is just $30 million that is not playing, and he's just off to the side on my chart right here. He's just in bold red off to the side as not part of rotation because I just don't see it. We are like, there needs to be another dude to make me feel good. I need another like 3-4 with some ball skills, or I need a larger ball handler. I'm holding out hope. We got the Pelicans have their entire MLE and the BAE to sign another player. They can potentially change the deals that they have right now. So I'm curious to see if another player gets added to this. I think we have to wait real quick. There's some rumor about Kuminga and no, no. I defended Kuminga when the Kerr versus Kuminga stuff started a little bit. Because I did feel like he got smothered out and didn't get opportunities to be in the first team offense, which would have been more along the lines of like why you picked him is because you thought he was going to be in the first team, and Kerr banished him to the second unit where the defense just keys on him and he looks worse. He's really athletic. He can drive with the ball in his hands. He's a good defender. But the dude's out here saying he wants $30 million from a team. And until I hear like a lot of walk back from his team on, yeah, I should just make $30 million and be in the starting five. No, not here. How? Why? So that I very much believe that interest is coming from his agent and him trying to just like make it appear as if he has a market so that he can get the number he wants. It just doesn't make sense on paper to me. And the only way mechanically that you're getting it done easily is like Trey or Herb, which is never happening. There's no world where Trey or Herb is going out for Kuminga. Like they're just better than him. They're both better than him. So that's insane. And their contracts are great for what they are. Like they are the tried and true assets on this team. Anyway, so that's old cum bucket for you. And you have any thoughts on Kuminga, or do you want to just ride off? We got one more big topic to hit.
I have no thoughts on Jonathan Kuminga, and all the thoughts I've been forced to give on Jonathan Kuminga, I've already given.
Forced to give. There's the take right there. Forced to give. All right. Now to round it off. Lots happened. Talked about the Derik Queen trade. Jordan Poole, I think, is just like a very reasonable, good basketball fit. A youth injection, athleticism injection, and CJ McCollum's contract goes to somebody else. The Washington Wizards are a pile of contracts. Like they are like a second apron tax team right now, full of horrific contracts, collecting picks into perpetuity. So if you love future picks and you love taking on bad salary, buddy, you're a Washington Wizards fan. Go hop over there and have a blast and let me know how Alex Sarr's doing. Playing with a lot of people who used to be great, but now are paid $30 million for thoughts of yesteryear. So lots happened. Team has changed drastically. 5 new rotation players, 3 of which are tried and true veterans. This team looks very different. And at the same time, the core is the same. The core is a lot of wing-sized bodies named Zion, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy. So it'll be interesting to see. Like, there's a lot to figure out just right out the gate. This team's gonna look real different. They're gonna do things real different. But we've seen just a completely different style of front office. We go from Griff, who is, while he talks a lot, was creating new ways to deal pieces of first round picks. Like, he was the attention to details guy that was going to sweat you out in a deal and get that one more little morsel out of you. And we immediately see something different in Dumars and Weaver. This is our guy. We're going to get him. And, to some small degree, like I think it was Les Snead for the LA Rams, F them picks. I'm going to do the thing I want to do. So we went from like worrying about every little detail to I'm going to get the main point that I want done. And I'm not going to sweat the details. NBA, I think most of the online NBA already had an opinion of Joe Dumars. I think are waiting to dislike him. I was torn. I didn't like the way he was hired because we've known for years that he was close with Gale and them boys. And then it's an appointment hire where he doesn't have to interview against anybody else. And that's scary because I have not seen those people who made that decision be worthy of making a decision like that without having to look harder at the solution. However, it's been hard to get resources out of these people and to get them to commit to strategies and to get them to kind of get their hands out of basketball sometimes. And if anybody's going to have the chance to do that, I would say that a Joe Dumars, who they trust already, who they brought here because they trust him, is about as good a bet to have a better line of communication and more trust as you're going to find. He is like more of like hammer meets nail than Griff was, but he's also a hell of a lot quieter. We did not know what he was up to or what he was cooking. And then a Jordan Poole trade happens. So Griff was the opposite. We exactly who he was looking at. We heard formations of trades. Players were finding out that they were included in versions of trades across multiple windows. There were guys playing for the Pelicans who no longer play here that knew that they were offered to other teams. You're not seeing that with Dumars. So I find that interesting. Already a polarizing front office. You have any thoughts on the Dumars of old, the Dumars of current, this new reconfiguration, this new approach for the Pelicans front office? Anything stick out to you that makes you nervous or that you feel better about?
I think it's just a different time in today's NBA where process is embraced or paths are embraced or rebuilds. You know what I mean? Joe Dumars has always been aggressive. He's always been aggressive as an executive. He's always made moves to try and make a team into something. And then when that doesn't work, let's do something else, you know? And I think that's, I don't know if the attempt is recognized as much these days, because it's very easy right now to make a Joe Dumars joke and everyone gets applause. And then if it doesn't work, you'd be like, see, I told you. It's a safe bet, right? You wouldn't make those jokes about Sam Presti, right? You wouldn't make those jokes about some of the execs that you hold in higher regard. You can do it about Joe Dumars, because I'll probably be right. And if I'm not, haha, LOL, no one cares. I like the fact that he went and got 2 guys that he wanted. You know, he went and got 2 lottery guys. It's an old school approach as far as I got 2 picks, so I don't need next year's. Haven't seen that in a while. But as an older person, I can admire, okay, you think this is the value that you want, and you're going to let them develop and play. You get Jordan Poole, which is, I mean, DeJounte's out. Could have ran it back. Could have played it safe. I mean, the man was working in the league office. He didn't have to do this if he didn't want to. But
yeah, he had the cush job. Like his life was easy.
He could have just sat it out. But those are the kind of moves you have to make. And I think it's important. I think it's important for him to put a stamp on this team so that he can find out what he has, because there are some potential moves that can be made. And so let me put together what I think is the best team around Zion Williamson, and let's see what that does for us. And then I will know if that fits my vision. You know, it's hard to take someone else's vision for a team and kind of carry it over. It's like, well, this isn't really, you know what I mean? Like, this isn't really what I thought. This isn't my thought on this. So I don't know if it's him or if it's them, or nope, we're going full forward ahead with you. We're bringing you in. We got these 2 picks. This is our thing. We go. So I don't mind it. I mean, for me, I go back to the initial Detroit days, and he just swung for the fences, man. So he just swung for the fences until he put together a team.
Yep.
I think I wouldn't be surprised by that there. But he's not going to get the benefit of the doubt from anyone.
No. Except from me, because I like the Pelicans and I want them to do well, and I am a fan, and I'm proudly like I'm happy to tell you I'm not a journalist. Do I know some people that know some things? Sure. Do I come on here and report stuff? Not often. Every once in a while, if I get something myself, I might you might read between the lines and hear me say something that you're like, wait a second. Weird things happen in New Orleans. Steve knows this. Steve's gotten some wild pictures and texts from me over the course of the last year and a half.
They don't make sense.
There's one big one that I like just wish I could say on here, but is probably irresponsible.
Sure can't.
But you know what it is.
Yeah.
And it's just, moral of the story is New Orleans is a really small place. And yeah, so you run into people sometimes and you kind of know what's going on with people that in other cities you shouldn't know what's going on with them. And unfortunately, I do. So anyway, I think to what you said about like someone else's team versus your own team, Joe came out and told us that. He said unequivocally, this isn't going to be us running some stuff back. We are going to go forward. And I think you pointed out the important thing. There is one gargantuan decision that has to be made in the next year or so. And he has set the team up to make that decision. Is this long-term Zion Williamson's home? That is the decision that needs to be made. He has given Zion a context to play in this season and a direct challenge where this team, if Zion is all NBA level Zion, which we know he can be, and we saw him in great shape playing incredibly well last year. I would say he played some of the best basketball of his life last year. If we see that this year, this roster is good enough to go with him as far as he can pull it. And I do think, I think we're one player away from feeling solid about this. I do think, right now, they're leveraged a little bit into some weird small ball. I don't really know what the backup 4 looks like. Maybe Queen is playing like from the power forward with like maybe Matkovic is like the shooting 5 out in the corner and Queen's playing the 4. I don't know. We got to see what that stuff is. Or maybe Herb and Trey are being like, are set up as a pseudo big. We got to see what that stuff is. I think we're one player away, but the team is clearly set up and aggressively set up to find out if Zion's the guy. And then if Zion isn't the guy, like you said, that pick next year, that might be some random dude that you don't even know and have no idea how he plays or how he's going to develop 6 months from now. That person's not going to matter because it's going to be time to move on from Zion. And you will very much be replenishing assets. There are multiple ways to skin this cat. So again, should he have protected the pick? Yes. No doubt. Not even really a conversation. Are they going to be struggling for assets if they need to change what this team is? No, I think not. So if you'd like to go, you can go follow the Oklahoma City Thunder. If you just want to have a plethora of picks and you want to like be cutting first round picks regularly for the next 5 years and watching them go and start for other teams, like that's a thing that OKC is going to do because they found great players and they have just a million picks that aren't going to be able to play for them. Casey Wallace is going to have a very interesting future. I don't know if he's going to stay on OKC for very long. We'll see. Like that's the conundrum with them moving forward is that they keep the core elements and they pay him what they're going to pay him. Like Shea getting wild new Rose Rule max money. Then they're gonna cut good players regularly. Or you can go be a Wizards fan and you can have all them picks and you can have a tank that's perpetually looking 5 years down the road, hoping that the lottery hits one day. I like doing the practical thing with the business that's in front of me. The business that's in front of me is find out what Zion is, make a decision on him, and move on from there. This team is set up to make a decision about Zion Williamson. And as far as the Joe Dumars critiques go, like that's the job. He is doing his job. And you may not like the way that he does it, but you didn't like the way the last guy did it either.
And secretly, no one likes how they do it, no matter what. I still remember people said, Sam Presti, why didn't you make a move at the trade deadline?
Why doesn't he trade them damn picks? When's he going to move for the all-star player? When is he going to move for the final piece? He's never gonna, buddy. That's not the model. He wants to continue drafting and always have middle of the rotation, future star flexibility. That's the goal. He wants to be a factory. He wants to be the San Antonio Spurs. And you know who else isn't trading for Kevin Durant and didn't trade for Kevin Durant? The San Antonio Spurs, because that's how they do business too. They are going to make this thing work for Victor for 10 years, not for 2. And that's their model, but that's not for everybody. That is certainly not for us. That is not what we can do right now.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, Steve, it has been great to see you again. I believe too. I see the Angels too. It's been great to be back with you. I'm excited again to talk about the Pelicans, and I'm looking out for one more move. I think we got at least one more veteran coming onto this team based on what I see right now. And I'm interested to see what that's going to be, but I think we got to wait for like a Kuminga sign and trade to happen first so that we like get down the road on like who's left, what's left. Because there are some guys that are sitting out right now. Chris Paul's going to pick a team. Malcolm Brogdon's going to pick a team. Those are going to be interesting because like that's your 2 best point guards available right now. Options are left, but when that money starts running out, we're going to have choices to make.
I got 2 options for you, big dog.
Oh, here he goes again.
You got Ben Simmons, you got Alec Burks.
Alec Burks, unequivocally.